Hi guys, how you doing? This is Karri. Today in Panzer Hearts vlog, we dive into the topic of visual novel. And I mean really dive, because the visual novel as a genre seems to constantly avoid being defined too rigidly. In short, we can say that visual novels are story-driven games. This means that they stress the story instead of some game mechanics such as puzzle solving or shooting or movement, etc. And of course there are plenty of games that stress the story and also employ some game mechanic. So the border between visual novel or let's say adventure game or action game, it becomes blurred. I compiled some links if you guys want to read more, because I want to keep these vlog episodes nice and short. The main source for this episode is Brian Kremin's A Brief History of Visual Novels. Many of the other articles I found are through Kremin's text. Arguably, the first visual novel was the Portopia serial murder case, released in Japan in 1983. Yuji Horii, who would later create hugely popular and long-running Dragon Quest series, states himself that he created Portopia because he had read about adventure games such as King's Quest and Sans Spade and wanted to bring the same type of games to Japan. Early visual novels were just that, adventure games. As such, they were more concerned with their puzzles than with their story. As visual novels nowadays are much more story-driven, we could say that the most influential aspect of the early visual novels are the visuals. Today, many visual novels use backgrounds with sprite characters moving on top of them. Earlier, this was not the case. Games such as Snatcher and Metal's later Glory have the characters integrated in the background itself, which obviously makes it difficult to use the same backgrounds again for different scenes. This has narrative consequences. When backgrounds cannot be used again for many different scenes, they carry more weight for a particular scene. Kremin puts this quite nicely in describing Snatcher. I'll read it out for you guys. The dynamic angle we view it from connotes action not only by placing emphasis on the gun, but also by leading to an imagined target just outside our sight. Gillian Seed's stern expression only reinforces those feelings. He looks so certain about what he's about to do that it's as if he's already shot the gun. This leads us to a very interesting point. Many things considered artistic or ideological actually have their roots in quite mundane and tangible reality. Visual novels became to use recyclable backgrounds with sprite characters on top of them because of technical limitations. Early visual novels were released for platforms such as Famicom, aka the 8-bit Nintendo, or even earlier PC 6000 series. These machines had serious memory limitations. Therefore, it made a lot of sense to use the same backgrounds multiple times. Tokimeki Memorial from 1994 was not the first game to use recyclable backgrounds, nor was it the first dating simulator, but it popularized the genre and influenced the future dating sims and other types of visual novels. Tokimeki lets the player take any girl to any location in the game, and therefore it made sense to use the same backgrounds over and over again, just with different sprite characters on top of them. This has huge significance from the narrative point of view, as it marks the transition of visual novels from representing their events as reality to representing them as stage productions. In other words, visual novels are like theater, whereas most AAA games are more like movies. This point I got from Kremin, and I think it really hits home in describing visual novel as a genre. So what do you guys think? Do visual novels really represent stage productions? Was this very short account on visual novels at least somewhat correct? What did I miss? Be sure to comment and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and like us on Facebook. See you guys soon again.
Panzer Hearts. Build the tanks, date the girls, choose your side.